This is the story of a family road trip. Just your average, wholesome, 3-child family. Mostly. These 3 beautiful, perfect, gorgeous angels and their single mom were going on a bonding trip to see a place they'd never been to before. This would be the family's first trip to Earth. All their friends were like,
"You haven't been to Earth?"
And they were like,
"Not yet."
And their friends were like,
"Well, you should, but honestly, it's changing so much though, it's not like it used to be."
The family settled on the States in North America. At the rental car office, they picked a vehicle of the locals, something that would help them blend in during their time on Earth. They were doing the classic American road trip from Houston to Las Vegas. Okay, well, maybe not a classic with Earth people, but there were some big landmarks for them that they were excited to hit. They'd also get to see some all-American sights, like the Grand Canyon, the Las Vegas Strip, and giant beer cans on the side of the road. Plus, the mom was really into gambling, so she pushed the Vegas agenda. Their trip started in Houston, which was busy and a little overwhelming. They saw roads that went over other roads and crisscross twisted in the air. So silly, they thought. If the Earth cars just flew, they would not need these air roads. There were funny vehicles on the road in Texas, but the funniest vehicle they saw was the Earth people's vehicles to get to their home. What a clunker. It was like looking at an outer space horse-drawn buggy. Oh, Earth people, you are so stupid. They started to get out of the city. They saw more green and trees. This was exciting for them because their home planet doesn't have plants, or oxygen for that matter. They saw parts of the land that Earth people don't usually go see because it's not cool enough, or there aren't any famous Earth people that hang out there. It was interesting to them, and besides, they don't even know any of the famous Earth people. Some of their favorite things were the star set and rise. They weren't used to having just one star, and there being darkness for part of the day. Why did more Earth people not watch the colors their star left in the sky every night and morning? Oh, how magical Earth is, they thought. They learned there was something called golden hour, when the light from the star looks particularly nice for a brief moment of time. Oh, you missed it. They particularly love the visible masses of condensed water vapor floating in the atmosphere. They learned Earth people called these clouds. The Earth people mostly did not believe in magic, but this seemed pretty magical to them. They also saw a cloud factory. Sometimes the clouds would drop heavier parts of the cloud on them, and it would make it harder to see out of their splat shield. They discovered their splat shield swipers. They learned that when it gets really cold on Earth, the heavy parts of the cloud freeze and turn white and cover the ground. Their first time seeing this was really exciting, and then they saw more of this than they ever really expected or wanted to see on this trip. The Earth was so different everywhere they went. Sometimes the ground was very flat, and sometimes it just kind of popped up randomly in places. And sometimes it went way down. They have one especially big one in Arizona, which they call the Grand Canyon. The family would never really find out how grand it is. The family loved seeing Earth creatures. They saw small creatures that fly in clumps that make them almost look like a bigger creature. There were other, even smaller flying creatures that would get splatted on their car's splat shield, which they had to clean off at the valuable ground sludge dispensary. They saw hard-footed creatures on the side of the road. Some of them had long hair and wanted to talk to them. Along the way, they did all the things that they heard Earth people like to do, like jumping, and jumping, and jumping, and jumping, and jumping, and Instagram stories. And, well, I don't really know what this is, to be honest. They had fun with their Earth cars, which drive much different than space cars. Their 2 famous stops were everything they dreamed about. Roswell is usually just a flyover destination for their people, except for that one guy. But they were excited to walk around and blend in. They felt totally not suspicious. The second was the VLA, or the Very Large Array, or the Earth people's clunky space telephone. It's somehow even worse than their clunky space car.
Like, hello, you guys have the wrong number, that's why we're not responding to you.
The Grand Canyon was, well... And before long, their final destination began nearing. They made one last stop at this thing, which is apparently something you have to build when your planet has water. And before they knew it, they were pulling into Vegas. The family came away from the trip closer, and with a deep appreciation for this strange, beautiful planet, full of magic and wonder. And they learned a valuable lesson.
Mom always knows best.
Yeah, 'cause Mom is smart. Listen to Mom.
many times have you listened to that song that goes, "Life is a highway, I want to ride it all night long"?